All right, what's up, guys? Welcome back to the Late Night Shots podcast, episode 87. Today, we're here with Tyree Carter, three-time national champ for Texas A&M. So, what's up, man? How you doing?
Good. Uh, just chilling in Houston right now at the coffee shop. So, yeah.
Yeah. Before we get into this episode of the Late Night Shots podcast, we're excited to announce Body Art Nutrition as the official sponsor of the Heavyweight Nation. Body Art Nutrition is a supplement company that is carefully designed and formulated for the customer. Body Art Nutrition currently carries whey protein with added leucine and pre-workout. Be sure to use code HWTN20 at checkout to save 20% off on all your protein needs. Link will be in the description if you're interested. We hope you check it out. So you just recently won your third NCAA title. So just how you feeling right now?
I was sore yesterday. Today I feel like a lot better because it's a 3-day tournament. A lot of matches, a lot of warming up, then cooling down. So yeah, I was sore. Right now I feel pretty good. I'm back in Houston on spring break, so I'm kind of just hanging out, coaching some kids in the area.
Yeah,
chilling.
So I was looking through the NCAA brackets. They have like 64-man brackets for some of them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was in the 64.
Damn, so what is that? 6 matches?
Yeah.
That's rough.
You kind of just absolutely clobbered your way through the bracket as well. Like the match scores and everything, like there was nobody close to you. I like to think nobody gave you a challenge, like to take your kid in the finals. Like, do you think personally this is the best tournament you wrestled?
No, actually, maybe. No, I didn't feel good until the semis. Like I felt pretty horrible. No, not gonna lie, the first 4 matches. Like I got texts, but that's because I got it done on my feet. And like that's just where I like to wrestle at. But I really like wanted to turn people because a lot of people think I can't turn people because I just take everyone down. But, so nobody would let them turn me. So that's why the scores are like 20 plus. Because nobody was letting me turn them. So I was like, screw it. I'll just cut them and take them down again. But yeah, I didn't feel good until like the semis because that 3-day weigh-in is just brutal.
Yeah. What is it? 1 pound each day?
Mm-hmm. It's not bad.
That's rough. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think one guy from my school I think he wrestled 125, placed third at D2 Nationals.
Mm-hmm.
Probably like 150 right now, I think he was saying. And it's only been like a couple days.
Yeah, he's cutting way more than me.
Yeah. How much do you cut normally? Like, is it too much or
like 10? Like 10.
Like coming into the season or from week to week?
Yeah, coming in. I usually walk around at like 58, 59, somewhere around there. But yeah, it comes off pretty easy.
So we gotta touch on it. Wrestling at Texas A&M, a school that has, has definitely not been known for wrestling. It's a big football school, a big baseball school. So what's that like? Not just being on the team, but also being a 3-time national champ for a school that isn't known for wrestling.
Yeah, most people don't even know that like you can wrestle at A&M. So like, it's always a surprise whenever like my friends find out about it, or just whenever I meet new people. But it's like, it's pretty cool because like I kind of like that it's also like a little bit of an underdog program, but also I don't like that we don't get the like resources. So that's another thing is sometimes like troubling whenever you don't have the same opportunity, even as an NCAA program, right? As a club team, like we aren't even near what the top-notch club teams are, like Liberty and Apprentice and Akron, like Grays Harbor, like some of those are former like D1 programs that fell into NCAA because their funding got cut or because the program got cut. Whereas like A&M is like, it's never been a D1 program, but that's something that, we would like to see it get to. So yeah, it's definitely like opposite. It's definitely overshadowed, and sometimes it's a little troubling because it's underfunded, not really looked at, but it's also still fun because we have what we need, and you don't really need much to like be a wrestler anyway. You need
Yeah.
a mat room and you need bodies, basically.
So you're at Texas A&M. You could probably have the opportunity to go Division One if you genuinely wanted to. But what do you feel is the difference for you that because there's obviously a reason you stayed at Texas A&M and didn't go to one of these NCAA schools. Why do you feel that is?
Okay, so there's a couple of reasons, right? And I get this question a lot, but I didn't really get that. Like, I didn't really get many D1, like real D1 offers out of high school. I never once stayed. I got second to Quincy Monday. We had some battles back in the day, but like I never got any big offers because a lot of programs, at least when I graduated in 2017, didn't really look for Texas, right? Not until after Ferrari, or if you weren't a Ferrari or a Bo Nickel, then you weren't really getting looked at like that. And so, and even those guys, like Bo Nickel's not from Texas, he's from New Mexico, and Ferrari has moved around the country a little bit. So if you didn't have the opportunities to, move around the country as I didn't, I went to like one national tournament a year. You don't really get that exposure, right? But that doesn't go to say that there isn't talent here already. So that's one thing I would say, like just a perspective that the rest of the country probably has in Texas, just like undermines the talent that Texas has. And secondly, I would say, because throughout this wrestling, throughout the NCAAs, my first year I got second, and then sophomore year, junior year, took first. I still didn't get looked at, So even being at Texas A&M, we didn't have many resources to travel further than Oklahoma. We went to we wrestled Texas schools and we wrestled Oklahoma schools and some Nebraska schools. But then outside of that, we didn't really go up to the East Coast. You kind of have to go there. You got to go to the East Coast. You got to go to the Midwest. You got to maybe even go to California to get that exposure. So I would say just being able to branch out to get that exposure is the biggest thing.
I think that's one big thing that we're trying to do here is, when we have all these high school guys on, a lot of them are so quick to say yes because I feel like they see this as an opportunity to kind of project themselves and, get it out there to a fan base that, of the number that we have, that, maybe a coach is sitting there scrolling on his phone and he sees, hey, there's this kid from Idaho who's a 3-time state champ who hasn't even gotten a single D1 email from a school yet. I think it's great that, you're able to come on here and be like, there's a lot of guys. I'm sure there's a ton of high schoolers now that are in Texas that, are amazing athletes and they're looking for just that break, to get that one coach to give them a call and give them a chance.
And they're hungry. Whenever you don't have it and then you get it, it's you don't take it for granted, Whereas I see is a lot of kids, that may have been the studs on the floorboards or whatever, that we don't even hear their names anymore because they might have taken it for granted or, whatever. But these Texas kids, I coach them. So I coach a lot in the area and I'm rolling with them. I feel them. So I know that a lot of these kids are hungry out here along with myself. So it's yeah.
So going back to the other point, you said a lot of schools, dropped off that D1 caliber, whatever division they were in. Some schools are making the push towards it. What do you feel except for maybe funding, which is something that has a lot of complications? What do you think is the thing your school and others have to do to push themselves back into that caliber?
To maybe become NCAA D1, D2, D3.
Yeah.
Is probably one, you've got to get more women, right? You've got to get a whole women's program because if you get men, you got to have the women, right? And Texas is the best women's program, as far as high school goes. So it should be that big of a problem. It's just that a lot of the Texas women end up leaving the state in order to wrestle in college to have that opportunity. And then second, besides women, I would say maybe having the support from locals already. So like Flow, for example, is based out of Austin,
Yeah.
but
Yep.
they don't like how many Texas wrestlers do you ever see posted on Flow or Texas programs posted on Flow? Like I would say probably having that support from our local businesses. Um, you know, maybe Flo could be the example, or maybe I know Brandon Slay used to live in Dallas. I don't know if he still does anymore. And I remember when I was in high school, the junior world team trials used to be in Dallas. So maybe bring things like that back. We have the biggest arenas, the biggest population, the biggest states. Like, I don't see why it couldn't get done. So just making it a little bit more mainstream, kind of how football is out here. Like, yeah.
Do you think, obviously, Texas A&M's in the SEC, I want to say?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, so, obviously that conference is known for football with, like,
Mm-hmm.
all the juggernauts there. So do you feel that's, like, somewhat like a hindrance to other sports in a sense, or do you just kind of use
Yeah.
it?
Yeah, I think so. I don't really know that much about the SEC's perspective on wrestling,
Mhm.
but I do know that wasn't it Mizzou that was the only SEC school that had wrestling.
Yep.
Yeah, and I forgot I was talking about this with Daniel Lewis actually, because we wrestled together 2 summers ago for a whole summer, and he was telling me why they were the only SEC school, but I forgot. I honestly forgot the story, but and they actually just switched conferences. Like they're not an SEC wrestling school.
Yeah.
Like they're in a different conference.
Yeah, they just moved
For
from the
wrestling.
MAC to the Big 12.
Yeah, to the Big 12. Okay, yeah, they just won the Big 12, and so it's like, but I mean, I don't doubt that the SEC probably has a lot to do with it, but I don't really know why. So
Do you feel personally like the upper heads at your school and the athletic department, do you think they show your guys and your team and your coaching and everything, do you think they show you as much respect as the other sports, or you think you guys kind of get pushed around a little bit?
definitely not. Definitely do not get the same support or respect. Like myself being the first national champion at the university, and then a 3-time and a 4-time finalist. Like even within the NCAA program, only 4 other people have done that. Like I think I got like a picture with the president once, and like that was it. But then if I was like a backup lineman on the football team, you're like famous. But no, so the answer to that question is definitely a no-go.
Yeah, because that was my question. Because if Texas A&M won a football national championship, there'd be a parade and there'd be
Crazy.
people all over campus. And you're a 3-time national champ, a 1-time finalist, and that was the last time you lost. Was your freshman year in the national final? Was the last time you lost? So like, how do you take an athlete at your school with a career like that, who's achieved to the highest level that they could and then some, and then just be like, yeah, you get to practice on some mats rolled out in the gym? Like, no. Like how do you, like, if I'm an athletic director, I'm taking that and I'm rolling with, okay, we need to figure out a way to get wrestling something here.
Yeah.
Because they have the facility for it. They could make you a wrestling room. They could 100% make you a Texas A&M wrestling room. Like,
easily.
I know, I personally know that they could make you a Texas A&M wrestling room. Like, I don't know. That just is like annoying because I know how much time you guys put in. I know how much time my brother puts in. Oh, for the people watching, my brother Michael Konetsky is the head wrestling coach at Texas A&M University. So I know how much time, he puts in. You guys put in so much time as well. So, I mean, I feel like that kind of is like a slap in the face almost, like having you there and, not even giving you like any type of light on your career. Like, I'm sure they haven't posted anything about you, like saying like, oh, like, congratulations. Like, you probably got nothing. And that's horrible.
Nah.
Like, I think
we don't really get anything. And it's like you sound like super shocked right now, but for me, I'm like so numb to it at this point. It's just like, oh yeah, who cares? Like, as long like the wrestling community will know like what's up,
Yeah.
And I think that's
but
I go to a small D2 Northeast school, And like
Mhm.
we had 3 guys got 5th at the qualifier for nationals. They didn't even qualify. They got 5th at the region tournament to qualify. And our school made big post online about it. Congratulations, this, like all this stuff. And I'm like, you're a
Yeah.
3-time national champ. Like we would kill to have somebody like you walk in our room. Like
Yeah.
it's just kind of like almost, it's like a sad situation. I'm calling out Texas A&M right now. Fix your problems. Fix your problems. I hope this gets like put on the lap of the athletic director because fix your problem because it's horrible.
I got a big one. All right. So obviously, you know who Brandon Reed is from Lindsey Wilson, 3-time NAI national champ. You know, you have him
Yeah.
kind of being, you'd say, probably the best NAI wrestler in a while. You have Joey Davis from Notre Dame. And then you kind of have you in the club ranks right there, right? I had Brandon Reed on the podcast, I want to say like last year. And the first question I asked him was like, why didn't you go D1? Kind of same thing I asked you because both of you guys in the caliber do that. And he was like, feels like it presents more opportunities and stuff like that. And with a lot of my friends being wrestlers, a lot of them talk about guys like Joey Davis, they went undefeated all 4 years. So what impact, like these guys, what impact do you think you want to carry on after your career?
Okay, so for like moving forward, continue coaching. So like, if anyone who's ever been in a room with me is like, 9 times out of 10, I'm probably leading the room. Like I'm one of those people, like vocal leaders, and I'm really good with like teaching as well. So like, I coach a bunch of kids in College Station at Legacy Wrestling Club. Kind of hands on with them whenever they need me. And then I help out at Spring Klein Wrestling Club in Houston, also Gracie Baja, and a couple of just like individual kids, like high school kids. So I coach at like Lowell High School, and so like, on every weekend I'm probably coaching 4 or 5, 6 kids, private lessons, things like that. So I want to like continue coaching, and I eventually want to have my own facility and my own club based out of Texas. So that's going to be like down the line because I'm getting this engineering degree, and so I plan to have some funds in order to like do that myself.
Yeah.
And so I plan to like use my talents and just like pay it forward. So that's kind of what I want to do as far as like impacting the wrestling community next. But I believe like as far as immediate, like kind of like a short-term goal would be I want to go to the US Open. I'm planning on going to the US Open next month. And I just want to like wrestle that next level, I guess. And because I think freestyle is probably my best style because like I just like I like taking people down. So, but yeah, I want to like just continue to have fun. So go to the Open, and just see what that level is all about.
Make some noise, shock some people, show that you've been, you've been there the whole time, and you just, just now going, wrestling at that level of tournament with, I'm sure, all kind of level guys. You're gonna get competition there from everywhere.
Yeah.
What weight are you planning on going? 70?
Probably, but maybe 65. We shall see. I was down at like 47, 48, like before weigh-ins, like not really trying. I was just like making 49. And then, you go to sleep and you sleep off like a pound and a half.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, I'm at like 47, 48. I was like trying to see like how I felt. And so I was like, what if I get down to 43 or 65 kilos?
Yeah.
And so, yeah. But one of those, just depending on how I feel.
Yeah, you're going to see some good competition there too, I think.
Yeah.
Yanni's going to be down there, McKenna, maybe Zane and Jo now.
They don't have to. Yeah, I hope some of them are there, but I know some of them don't.
I don't think
some of them don't go because they're already a qualifier.
Yeah, I think
the Olympic trials, or the World Team Trials.
I think they just go there and get competitions in right now with like all the stuff getting canceled.
Yeah, for sure.
And Yanni's coming right off of national.
Title.
Yeah, assuming he wins this year.
We'll see.
I want to chase that, but you think Tariq can do it? You think Tariq can pull it off? Wilson?
No comment. I don't know. I don't think their styles match up for that.
All right, that's fair.
Austin Gomez.
I want to say Gomez can do it.
I
but
like
watching
Austin
that
Gomez.
match. Yeah.
I like him too. He was my pick. We did a full video about this. I'm
your
a
pick?
big Austin Gomez guy.
Oh man.
I like Austin Gomez a lot. I've seen him wrestle. He used to come down to Texas a lot and wrestle, like at the youth tournaments on random weekends. We never wrestled each other, but he used to like just tear up local Houston youth tournaments like for no reason.
For what? Like just
like for no reason. Like his dad would just bring him down. And they were just like, "Oh, we just want to get different looks, just whoop on every kid, and then leave." Like, okay.
Man. I used to see videos of like, I think Nick Soriano graduated high school the year before I started wrestling in high school. And all you would see like on YouTube is just replays of him going undefeated all throughout high school. And it would just be him pinning like random kids. It would be like the first, second match in like 10, 15 seconds. And it won't even be like him trying to be aggressive. It'll just be like a single double off and then just run the half and pin him. You'll see that like over and over again.
Yeah.
now, correct me if I'm wrong. You also had the fastest pin at the national tournament.
Yeah. Yeah, I did that because your brother was coaching, wasn't able to come coach. And so I had my teammate on the mat next to me. And then Mike was busy coaching our 41 pounder weigh on the other mat. And then we had another 33 on it. So it was three of my teammates wrestling and then me. And I asked the ref, I said, "Hey, can we wait for my coach?" And he goes, "Nah, we're rolling straight through." And so I like, all right, snap down and I just snaked.
Oh,
And
how
then
was it?
it was 10 seconds, I believe. And then apparently they like keep records of that. Like the NCAA, they keep records of it. And so he like whenever Mike saw it, he was like, "You're gonna be on the list for fastest pin." I was like, "What do you mean?" He's like, "There's like a list. You have to like pin someone in under 12 seconds to get on the list." I was like, "Oh, that's tight."
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome.
I just know like we were all getting like text updates throughout the entire weekend. And then like we all were sitting in our family living room with the finals put on the big TV in the living room watching you wrestle. And I was just like after every round, he would text like my stepdad. He'd be like, this happened, like just keeping like us in tune with all you guys. So yeah, it's definitely dope.
Nice.
Yeah. So I mean, we could just like kind of go reverse here, and I mean, if you just want to talk a little bit about your freshman year, I mean, making it all the way to the national finals, like what was that like for you as a freshman? Obviously, you're at a club wrestling team program, new coaching after coming out of high school. What was that like for you making it all the way there?
It was fun. So I don't know if you know the story, but I was a wild card, so I had to like do a pigtail to get into the bracket. So I had, I think, 7 matches, and I had a wild card because I didn't wrestle at conference because I had a family emergency the week of conference, and I had to get like a bid to get into nationals, and so I wrestled a pigtail, and then I got from the pigtail went straight to 4 seed, and then I beat the 4 seed, took his spot, wrestled through. Then you hit the 5 in the quarters, and you hit the 1 in the semis.
Mm-hmm.
So I wrestled through, beat them, and then wrestled the final, and ended up losing. And so that was actually like it was super exciting because nobody knew who I was, and also didn't know who anyone else was. So it was just like a clean slate, and I just didn't know like how good guys are going to be, because I was just coming into I was like, oh, how good are guys going to be at the club level? And then the guys were super intense, like legit. And a lot of guys were like, the guy wrestling in the finals, he actually was a transfer from D1. And so was the guy in the semis. He was a transfer from D1. And so that was pretty cool in order to wrestle them. And then the guy in the finals, I got caught I don't know if you've seen the match, but I got caught on my back in the first 30 seconds.
Yep.
Yeah, so I gave up that 6. I'm down 6-0, and then ended up losing. I don't know. It was like 10-5. I don't know. I ended up like mounting a baby comeback, but that 6-point hole had had messed me up. But that's like that was also the last takedown I gave up in college, and so it was. But yeah, I wish I didn't do that. I was also a little small for 49. Like I was walking around at like 45, and I was just like, oh, I'm just gonna wrestle, see what's up. And so I definitely got big boyed in the finals a little bit. But yeah, it was all fun. It was all fun.
So after you take that loss, like, what do you think? Like, did you change anything in like the way you trained? Because I feel like you have to like gain a certain level of confidence to be like, I was not even known at this tournament, and now I'm a national finalist as an 18, 19-year-old kid, just started going to school here. What was that like for you? Like training in the off season, preparing for your sophomore year.
Yeah, so it was just like going from you go from that point of being like the hunter to the hunted, but like, the mentality never really changed. It's just like, oh well, like there's still improvement to be made. You still got a spot on the podium left to like get up to. And I knew that same guy was going to be there because he was either a freshman or a sophomore, but I knew he was coming back and that most likely at the same weight. So I knew I'd like see him again. And then a lot of credit to I do internship. I did internships every summer in college. So I interned in Kansas City for 2 years, like the last 2 summers. And I worked a lot with like a lot of the Iowa State, I think they're D2, Daniel Lewis, who we all know him, national finalist. Tony, we all worked out of Tony Perler's facility in Kansas City. And so I was in a room full of guys who were at the next level and competing and like going through, harder practices, some of the best high schoolers in the country were in the room. So it was like, when I came back, I was just a lot better, a lot stronger, things like that. So I already knew that I was going to get back to the national finals. In my head, it was just like, oh, I want to like miss this time. So the next year I ended up majoring in, and yeah, so that was the progression through that.
So what was it like sophomore year? You end up, obviously, beating your way through the tournament, and you're, sophomore year and you're back in the finals. Were you kind of a little nervous there, like after what happened the year before? Were you kind of a little bit skeptical of yourself?
So like I definitely made an adjustment. The year before, my freshman year, I was like super amped up, riding this wave of like, oh, wild card just like broke through the bracket. And then like my sophomore year, I like totally did the opposite. I like relaxed, like went back after weigh-ins, went back to sleep. And then me and the team, like we went to saw a movie, then we went bowling. And then we did like bowling and laser tag. And then like I came back like an hour before warm-ups, warmed up, was pretty chill, was hanging out in the stands, and then just wrestled. And so like that was kind of like I just like totally switched on my approach to the finals because like even when high school when I took second at state, like I was super amped up for the finals. And I ended up taking second because like you kind of like build up the match. Like in your head, you kind of like build up the match bigger than what it is. And you like kind of over wrestle or you like, just do things you might not have done just because it's a finals match. And so I was like, I'm just going to relax, like pretend like I'm in the room. And, just that's how I wrestled it, just pretty lax. That's how I approach finals after that. From that day moving forward is like just pretty lax. Like I go do something to take my mind off of wrestling. I like totally forget that I'm even at a wrestling tournament. And then just come back and I'm like, oh, okay. Time to finish like what you set yourself up for.
I like that. I like that approach. I'm sure it kind of eases your mind, so it's not fully, all wrestling, you get to hang out with the guys on your team and kind of, blow off some steam. And I definitely think that would help me, at least. I know that, not being, it's gotta be, better too, not being uncomfortable sitting in those bleachers in the gym, the entire time the tournament's going on. Like,
yeah.
So, I mean, you win a national title, if you figure it out in the finals and you win there. So, I mean, coming home, what was that like, I'm sure that was insane for like your mom and your sisters, like you being like, hey, my brother's a national champ. Like my son just won nationals. Like that's gotta be big for your family.
Yeah. My mom was there My mom was there every year and with my sisters. But I remember my first year, I forgot what we did. I think we went out to eat. My second year was 2020. Yeah, I was 21. I think I won on my 21st birthday. It was either the day before or the day after, or something like that. And we like went out to this bar that was actually in the same parking lot as the event center, and I got drunk. I drank with my mom. So like, yeah, that's how we celebrated that one. The second one.
That's awesome.
That's gotta be, yeah, that's gotta be pretty awesome. That's gotta be pretty awesome.
Man.
So I mean, looking forward, then you go in, again, your senior year, that your last ride with the Aggies. What was that like for you? I'm sure it was a special moment for you, you and your coaches and everybody. As soon as you finish that finals match, and for you, it's kind of like it's over. You were with Mike, all those years, and he helped coach you, and I know for him, it's definitely going to be hard seeing you go, leave the program. I think that's what was that like for you? Kind of that surreal moment where you're like, okay, it's over.
Like for me, what I was feeling at the moment was like, okay, well, if this is like the last time these people will see you wrestle like on this stage, then like give them something to remember. Because I don't know how many people get techs in the finals, but it's not many. And then how many people get like of those techs? How many people are scoring 9 takedowns in the finals? So it's like I wanted to like showcase what I'm best at, and that was take him down, and like break people. So, and then Mike is pretty calm in the corner, so I stayed pretty calm in the match. Like he's calm in the corner with me, but whenever he coaches his son, he like goes crazy. I don't know if you've ever seen it, but
yeah.
So he was pretty calm in the corner. He told me like before I wrestled, like he appreciated being in my corner, and I appreciated him. So, it was like just something like just to take in. And the biggest thing I was thinking about was a team trophy. I actually wanted that was like the biggest thing I wanted this past weekend.
Yeah.
Was I wanted us to place like top 2. We ended up placing 3rd as a team. I think we would have won the team race if we actually had our 65-pounder got hit by a bus on campus.
I'm sorry for laughing, but I remember Mike texted my stepdad. He's like, our 65-pounder just got hit by a bus.
Hit by a bus. He's a stud. Like, he's a stud. Like, he would have been top 3, no doubt. Like, he's a Texas State finalist and like a 3-time state placer in Texas.
Wait, is he good or like?
Yeah, no, he's legit. Like,
I mean with like the whole bus, because blew right past that.
Yeah, so he got hit. He was on his bike. He got hit and like fell over, and then the bus like ran over his foot. So he had like I forgot what kind of fracture it was, but he fractured his foot. He didn't have to get surgery. Basically, they have to wait for the swelling to go down and do an MRI and then like look at some of the ligaments around it. But it's like his foot is huge and like all different kind of colors. But if he was there, I think we were definitely top. We definitely would have been top 2, but I think had a shot at first for the team race.
And then what? Your 41-pounder was what? He got 4th, right? He was in the 3rd and 4th place match. So that had to be big for 4th. You guys. Yeah.
Yeah. He's a Texas wrestler. He's a homegrown Texas wrestler too. His name's Jacob Grogan, and like I think he's a 4-time Texas State qualifier and a 2-time placer. But I've been seeing him wrestle since he was like 14, 13. And he actually wasn't even going to compete this year. He was just in the room, and he was just practicing with me. He was just in the room. He's like, "Oh, I'm just here to work out," And I was like, "No, like you got to compete." And so like we had a home duel, and I made him weigh in. Like he was just chilling in the stands. And I made him like get up and go weigh in, like just so he can have eligibility. And he was like, "All right, sure." And then he ended up competing the next weekend. And then, once you compete once, like you're back in it, So he ended up won a conference. And then he went on a good, crazy run at nationals even, Like, I forgot what he was. He may have been like a 15 or 20 seed.
Yeah, I think
he got 4th.
Yeah, 15, I think.
Yeah, and then he lost to the same guy twice. So he lost to the 2 seed on the top side, then lost to the 2 seed in the third place match. So like, there's no telling, if he might have been in the finals if he was in any other spot in the bracket. But
Yeah,
he's a freshman,
that's
and
insane. Yeah.
that's the first time A&M's had 2 All-Americans, more than 1 All-American in a season. So that's good. That's the first time they placed as a team. So a lot of firsts, a lot of firsts. So the university should maybe be looking at giving us a couple million,
Yeah, hey,
start a program.
I think, and especially, I think if this was more out there, like what's going on in your wrestling room,
Mhm.
building up a 3-time national champ and then building another All-American, like I feel like that's gotta, be publicized somewhere, which is why another reason why I have you on the show. So like guys that are in Texas know that, even guys who are already, students at Texas A&M that wrestled in high school and were, they're kind of
Mhm.
upset, that they don't have an opportunity, that they see that room is no joke. Like you're
Yeah,
building All-Americans in that room. And I'm sure
yeah,
next season you'll go on and have another 2, 3, 4 All-Americans. You got
yeah.
a great women's team. I know that, a lot of good women that are in your program that are starting to battle there.
Mhm. And I mean, it's all natural. I mean, it should all happen naturally. I mean, once you get the resources and just the opportunity, then like we've got the wrestlers, we've got the women, we got the men. Like it'll just all happen naturally. You would just need a shot, basically. So yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's like, what are you thinking forward, as your team's there? Are you confident, with you leaving now that your team is going to make some noise eventually at the national level, with all those guys that you have in your room?
I think so, and that was like one of the biggest things with me this year. That why I wanted them to get a team trophy was because it was like, okay, Tyre, if you come out of here being a 4-time All-American, like, okay, cool, but nobody's ever gonna remember that if like nothing is sustained moving forward. So for them to get a team trophy, and it wasn't all just me. Like we had two guys that dropped in blood rounds.
Mm-hmm.
That definitely should have been on the podium. One of them came down to a stall call. It was a heavyweight match. One of those push heavyweight matches that came down to a stall call. But like we potentially should have had 4 or 5 All-Americans, and then we had a fluke where a teammate gets hit by a bus. It's like, okay, like you got things coming back, and really we're only graduating 2 guys. It's myself and our 97. And our 97 is actually probably going to be like a volunteer coach next year because he's still working in, I think he's doing he's going to med school at A&M. So like the room is still going to be full. I'm the only one really leaving. So I'm pretty happy about where it's headed and the leadership that's in the room. Like our president, Scott Killian, he ended up going 1-2 this weekend at 41, which was a tough bracket, but just his leadership skills, like I'm totally it's totally trusted in his hands. He has a very high wrestling IQ. He follows y'all page a lot. He's a big fan, but yeah, just with it because he's a young dude as well. He's a sophomore, I believe, and like it's a pretty young room. I'm the oldest person in the room, so it's like I'm pretty confident that moving forward, like this will just spark more people to show up and just really like have goals.
Yeah. And I feel like that's the biggest thing. And what I like about like the NCAA is I think, D1 should pick up is I love the 235 weight class. I think that's a great idea because you add that 11th weight class, you don't have ties in dual matches. It's impossible. You can no longer have ties in dual meets. So there'll be no criteria. It'll go down to, okay, there's 11 matches now.
But
like, I think that would be definitely be beneficial to like, and, you got a lot of lightweight guys that are, they're 97 pounders in high school. And then are there they're 220, 215, whatever, depending on
like
what
tweeners.
Yeah. And then you're in between heavyweight and 97. Are you going to cut or are you going to gain? Like you got to decide there. So I think 235 is a good weight class. I think that should be picked up by more levels of wrestling.
I've been saying that for a while. Like I didn't even know because I haven't looked into NCAA in a while. Like I know some guys that wrestle there, but I was doing this post I think you saw on my page of like all the national champs from like every division. I found out 235 weight class existed, and I wasn't even sure what it was.
Yeah, I
Then,
didn't know about it until I got in,
yeah,
and I was like, why do we have? I was like, why do we have 11? Like we were in a duel, and I was like, why is there 11 matches like on the bout sheet?
Mhm.
And they're like 235. I was like, 235? There's no 235 in college.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, that's genius because, like, yeah, that's just genius
Yeah.
because, like, it's close enough to 97 where if you're like 210 or 220, we have like our 97 was started off at 220. And I got them to cut down to 97. And then our 235 walks around at like 225, 227 ish. He's like definitely he's small. He's too small for 85.
Yeah,
Yeah, he's too small for 85.
I think the only problem becomes like at the D1 level, where like if the main guy who comes into the picture at 235 would be Greg Kirkfleet right there from Penn State. I think guys who are cutting massive amounts of weight to make 97, Mason Paris, and then you have Gable, Cassiope just dominating heavyweight. And that causes a problem. They might get watered down a little bit. So I don't know. I think the good part, like dual implications, you talk about that. Like if you tie the duel, it just comes down to matches one. That's over with.
Yeah.
So that's definitely a big plus right there. Yeah, because I was watching Bergen Catholic versus Del Barton. I want to say it came down to like the 10th criteria of like who got the first. Yeah, there was a lot. It was like matches won, bonus points, most points scored, first takedown scored, first turns or something. I think they said criteria J, and they ended up winning that with the number 1, number 2 team in the state.
Wow. Yeah, that 235 weight classes. And as far as like watering it down, it's like initially that would be the case, right? Like the first probably 3-4 years, and maybe a little watered down. But then as you get deeper, maybe by that 4th year after you've had like a cycle go through, it probably will be just as competitive as all the other weights. Yeah. Just because, guys would start, not guys, but programs would start, recruiting for that specific weight, and then like, shaping guys into that weight.
Yeah. I think this also helps get more, like in the upper weights, there's more of a problem with guys going to football than the lighter weights. Just because, just in general. I've seen a good amount of guys choose to go play football instead of wrestle just because they're maybe like 220. You're perfect size for like a college linebacker right there. But then you go heavyweight for wrestling. You're already fighting to keep on 220, and you can't really cut to 97. Becomes a problem.
Yeah, and then maybe it could even gauge more for scholarships, right? Because the max you give out is 9.9 with 10 weight classes. Maybe you could say, oh, now we got 11 weight classes. Maybe we need more, a higher max. I don't know if that could be a string to pull.
Yeah. What would it be, 10.9 if they do that?
I mean, probably if they just matched it. But then at that point, you probably ask for more and then receive something close to 11.
Yeah, because with the women's teams coming in, I know Iowa's starting theirs, I want to say next year or the year after. That's going to be crazy for their scholarships. I think Penn State's might get one. I think they're in the process of trying.
What they still get 9.9 just like the men?
I think, isn't there like the whole Title IX thing with scholarships being the same for men's and women's?
Yeah.
So if women's get more, the men's would get more too, I think.
And
like, what's it called? Like, if you look at Penn State, they have like probably 40 guys on that team.
Yeah.
It's like half of them you'll never hear of because they're just there.
Yeah.
And, if you give out the starters and guys who are actually going to start all the scholarships and you split the rest up between them, it just Makes things so much easier.
Yeah.
All right. So we have, I mean, an incredible career. What do you think are some of the highlights? You know, if you could say a couple of things of your favorite moments, well, you know, what do you think you could say there?
Freshman year was definitely it's definitely up there. Just being a wild card and then breaking through that, I really enjoyed because those were some of my closest matches. Like, I think when I wrestled that 4 seed, that was a comeback win. I was down by like 4, going into like the second or something. I remember that being a comeback win, and then knocking off the 1 seed in the semis. That one came down to riding time. Actually, I like rode him out in the third. And those are like both guys that had just finished traveling around the country because they were from Liberty and Apprentice. And so Liberty, we know they're from Virginia. I forget where Apprentice is. Where's Apprentice? I forget where Apprentice is, but they have fully funded programs. So I don't know if you know like the difference between D1 and D2 NCAA.
Yeah.
Is okay, yeah. D1 is fully funded, like those guys actually get paid to wrestle.
Yeah.
And then D2 is like minimal to none. And so those 2 guys are both from like fully funded programs. One of them being from a D1 school, like an NCAA D1 school. Some of these guys were NCAA D1 transfers, and so they were there for wrestling. And then in order to knock those off, that was pretty exciting. Another highlight, it's got to be the team win, the team trophy this year. I didn't know we were getting it. I thought they only placed top 2. And so I was like, we missed the team race. And so I had just gotten like off the podium and everything. And like, they had just announced like all the coaches of the years and all that. And they're like, oh, Texas A&M, 3rd place, blah, blah. And I thought we were just getting the recognition, like the shout out.
Yeah.
And they're like, come to the stage. Like, where are y'all? So nobody was downstairs. Like nobody was on the floor because we thought, and so we had to like run down and be like, what? So that was a super good moment. And then if I had to do number 3, it's probably getting revenge my sophomore year, getting a major in the finals on that dude that put me on my back. I don't like going on my back. So that was pretty cool.
I mean, an insane career. I mean, and then, I mean, like you said, you brought, you know, you and your teammates brought home, the team trophy. But I think, was it last season, you also got Mike a Coach of the Year award. I think he won it last year. And then I think he said he was second this year again.
Yeah.
So,
yeah,
I mean, getting recognition like that, even like, for your coach, it just kind of proves like, you guys are a great team. And I think, you guys have a bright future. So that's definitely good. I think I can 100% say you're leaving the program, in a very good spot. I think they're going to be really, really, really good.
Yeah, I would hope so. And then I hope, hopefully the university, looks at a couple things. Hopefully we got a couple of maybe hedge fund managers or venture capitalists that want to invest into a D1 program in Texas. And so, I just hope this like sheds more light and gets more exposure on the talent in Texas, because it's not necessarily about me at this point. It's about, the youngins afterwards.
Yeah.
After me. So, or who's currently coming. So, it's all about creating opportunity for them. So, yeah.
All right.
So, are we getting to the questions or?
Yes, we have a great.
All right.
Let's ask some great, really fun questions.
All right, I'll start my first 2. These are quick ones before Derek gets into his whole thing. So, who's your favorite collegiate wrestler of all time, and why?
Oh man, I got to give one.
Top 3, then I want the top one.
Okay, I'm gonna go top 3.
Okay.
Top 3, Montel Marion. He never won.
Yeah.
But I might be a little, I'm definitely biased.
Yeah.
He's just been coaching me since I was like in 6th grade.
Yeah.
He used to come down for these Iowa camps at my middle school. And so Montel, and I like his style, just like
he was
he would
definitely
always be like Yeah, he'd be
Yeah.
like taped up every match and like looked scary,
Yeah.
and then just like always on people. So Montel, and then I used to be a huge Nashon fan. Just that like the timing on his double,
Yeah.
like those Nashon and Delgado matches used to be crazy. Like, so that I grew up in that like Montel Nashon age when I first started wrestling. So Nashon,
You hear that, Nashon? Come on the show.
And
Nashon. I've only met him once at the trials 2 years ago in Dallas, whenever that was. And then another one, Ed Ruth.
I like that
Ed
one.
Ruth. But I'm probably putting Montel as 1, Nashon as 2, and Ed Ruth as 3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got a big follow-up question for this. With Montel at number 1, where do you think he would be like in all-time standings if he never wrestled Kyle Dake or Kellen Russell in the finals?
He'd probably be. I think he probably would have had a better freestyle career too, because I think there probably would have been more poured into him.
Yeah.
But we definitely would be talking about him more, just like in general conversation, kind of how we talk about, because like JB got 2, John Smith even only got 2.
Yeah.
Like if he would have got those 2 chips, if he wasn't behind like 2 freaking goats, like then yeah, he like there's no telling. I mean, what the potential would have been.
All right. So the second question, with NCAAs coming up in like 2 days, let's hear your picks.
Okay. I'm actually filling out my like picks today, like after I do this with my friends. At 25, I have Vito.
So do we.
So do we.
I got Vito. At 33, I just feel like I shouldn't bet against RBY, so I'm gonna stick with. I'm just gonna stick with RBY.
I can't see Fix losing 3 times in a row. I don't.
I can.
Right.
I see it. We'll see if he gets past Bird.
Yeah.
Lucas Bird.
That's a big one I was looking forward to.
Yeah. And then at 41, Let me skip over 41. Let me skip over 41.
Okay.
49. What are the seedings at 149?
Yanni 1, Tariq 2,
Gomez
2,
3,
Gomez is 2.
Sasso 4.
And the Sasso is 4. Yeah, okay. I got Yanni. I got Yanni through that.
Okay.
I don't have, and I wouldn't be surprised if Sasso dropped before the semis, and we didn't see Sasso yet.
Sasso has Bartlett round 2. I don't see anything happening there, but I know he has another big one with the 5 seed.
Okay, 57. This is 100% biased, but I don't care. I got Quincy Monday because I want to say that's my Texas dog. He was in Texas a couple years.
I was gonna ask you this after the first one.
I'm saying that publicly that I got Quincy at 57, even though that's like a super stacked bracket.
I will say this completely unbiasedly, but if you look at his path to a title, it's not that unreasonable.
It's not.
Doesn't he have to go through David Carr? Is he on David Carr's side?
He has Ed Scott in the quarters, who I think he can beat. I don't think David Carr's unwinnable.
Unbeatable? Yeah.
I think in his best case scenario, if he wants to win a title, Deacon needs to go down to Teamer.
Yeah.
I think Deacon's just a terrible matchup for Carr and Monday.
Yeah.
He's too big.
Yeah, he's huge.
I don't know how he makes 57. He looks like a 65-pounder all day long.
It's crazy.
Well, to 65. To 65. What
65. I don't watch too much Keegan O'Toole. Like I haven't really seen him wrestle much. So
He's very good.
oh yeah, I mean I hear, but I know not to bank on Marinelli at NCAs.
No, the last thing you want to do is bank on Marinelli at NCAs.
I think Marinelli
And then,
did like.
But then you've got like Evan Wick has a pretty good path. Like he's gonna run into Shane Griffith in the semis, who he's beaten this year, right?
Three times.
Yeah, so like I'm gonna go with Evan Wick, and I'm gonna say a
Solid
dark
pick.
horse is Dean Hamidi.
Dean-
because he's not in a bad spot in the bracket as well. Who does he run into? He runs into Shane, I think, in the quarters.
Yeah.
It's so insane that he's only a true freshman.
Yeah.
He's a true 19-year-old kid.
Yeah, and he was one of those kids that didn't get to wrestle state because of COVID.
Yeah, he didn't get to wrestle
Yeah.
state.
Yeah, I think I remember that.
Mhm.
Yeah, so I think I think I like where Evan Wick is, but I mean, again, this is me saying this without really watching too much of Keegan O'Toole. I haven't watched much of what's we have in that weight?
Marinelli.
Oh, Cam Amin and Marinelli. Yeah, I haven't watched too much of Cameron Amin, even though he just dropped Marinelli, but that was like a 3-2 match. I just don't like how Marinelli wrestles.
Yeah. Marinelli versus Amin.
In duels.
Yeah.
And I mean, I don't like how he wrestles matches so close. Whenever he could open up matches more. But moving on from that, I got Kim Dog winning it at 74. I say the old man breaks through, even though he
Not
has
a chance. Not a chance.
Starachi.
Not a chance. He
I
ain't
think-
making it to the finals. He's not
I
even
like
going to
Michael
be in the
Kimura.
final.
You don't think who you think
I
is going to
think.
beat
no.
him?
I think.
You think Hidley?
I think he beats Hidley and then Starachi takes him in the
Drops it.
semis.
Yep.
I think the problem is he's too injured at this point. I think last year he just
He's
Was his
taped
best?
up.
He threw.
He's
he
taped
threw
up
that
like a
match.
transformer. He's got
Yeah.
leg pad, arm,
But
shoulder.
y'all remember Corey Clark. Corey
Yeah.
Clark looked just like him.
And Spencer Lee last year, 2 torn ACLs.
Yeah. So I think he's like the whole, like, I always wants to carry that one dude that's like literally patched up all the way.
It just.
But I think it'll be him.
It's Makai
know,
Lewis. That's my guess.
I'm not gonna
Makai
say
Lewis
anything.
won it at all.
Makai's got a pretty path. I mean, he has to go through Logan Massa, but I'm not impressed with how Logan's wrestled this year. And I think it's Ethan Smith on his side.
You might have me sold on this one. I don't know. I don't
Because
know.
now you're thinking about like
I think.
Hold on,
Spencer,
Keb.
Corey
No,
Clark.
no. Just listen to what I'm saying. I think Starachi beats every guy in the bracket without a problem, without being a genuine fear of losing. But Kemmerer is the one guy who I wouldn't want to have a matchup with.
Before
I
the
think-
finals.
In general, I would.
Yeah.
I think in Starachi's best case, Hidley takes out Kemmerer, and then he cruises to a title. I don't think.
Yeah,
I think Makai is just too small, and just like
Yeah, that is something to take in. He's
That's
a
really
small
it.
step for Founder.
I think Hidley's done decently well at 74, but he hasn't had the competition except for Makai, and that he just lost. So I don't know.
84. I got Aaron Brooks coming
I like
back
that.
because he got caught with 2 lefty ankle picks late in Big Tens.
Yeah,
That was a really good, like a really smart adjustment by Miles. I mean, because all match, like, you know, he goes to that. I think it's he has a high crotch with his left arm, I think.
yeah.
But he switched to a lefty collar, righty ankle pick, and got 2 takedowns because of that was a crazy in-match adjustment. But I think
Yeah.
Kale's gonna coach Aaron up.
I'm gonna say this. I don't know how well this stands, but What do you think about Parker Keckeisen versus Miles Mean
When do
in
they
the
meet?
semis?
I haven't watched much of Parker. Also,
Last time he wrestled Brooks, it was 3-2. I think that might be a big upset there, but I wouldn't bet on anything happen.
and what about Trent?
I don't think he beats Brooks. I think it's like the same result as last time, like 3-2.
Yeah. And Trent is like one of those. He's also one of those wrestlers where I don't find him too exciting. Like he's a really good wrestler.
Yeah.
He's really good to have on your team because like he's consistent. But he's like just gonna stand in front of you, just collar tie, like hand fight the hell out of you.
Yeah. I think
But
Brooks has like a hell path too. He has like a solid first round. Who's again another guy's just gonna wear you down a little bit. You kind of don't want to have to go through that. So that kind
And
of
then I
comes.
think he might have Taylor Vins. He might have Taylor Vins on the side. Who
Taylor Vens, I
beaten, like
think
twice
is
this year.
yeah, it's a 10 seed. I don't think Vens wins that, but that's again another guy who's just gonna frustrate you with his like unique style.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
97. I have no idea. I didn't even think Max Dean was gonna win Big Tens, but then he did. But I don't know. This was like wide open.
I have Stephen Buchanan winning.
I don't know, because I think like Jacob Warner is one of those guys that he's like a two-time All-American now, but he can even break through. Where he's beaten, I think everyone in the bracket at some point, besides maybe Max.
He didn't beat Max. He's never beaten Schultz, which is the big one.
Oh, okay.
I think Schultz has beaten him every single time.
I think he runs into. I think he runs into like Braxton Amos second round, which is like.
I think he took it to Amos low key.
Oh, early in the season.
Yeah, I just don't think Amos is like as physically developed just yet, which kind of hurts him a little bit. But if he puts it together, he could very well just win that bracket. He's only like a couple points behind the best guy there, so.
I think I'm gonna go with Eric Schultz and say Mark Manning gets one right there.
You like that? All right. So Buchanan bodied him low key last time they wrestled. I'm just put that out there.
All right. And then the last weight class, the king of wrestling, heavyweight. Is there a second choice?
I should rank top 4 really here. Because you got Gable number 1.
Okay.
Is he a lock?
Yeah, he's locked in.
I said that from the beginning from last year that this year is a competition for second place. Yeah. It's who could be second.
You know what? Watch the man get headlocked first round just because you said that.
And I think I have
you got to remember
Mason Paris in the finals.
Really?
This is post-season Penn State though. Just saying.
Bro, what's Kirkfleet gonna do against Gable? Semis.
I'm just saying to get him into the semis. Never mind.
I think Kirk takes third. Kirk is third.
Cassiope.
And I think Cassiope gets fourth or fifth, depending on.
Okay.
I have one Gable because I have Gable no matter where he is, and then I think Mason Paris on the opposite side because I remember he got like a low seed.
Yeah, 7.
A lower seed. Yeah, so he's Mason Paris in the finals, and Mason Paris he's gonna take out Cassiope, but he takes out Schultz first. So Schultz is gonna drop Schultz to Conti's, and I got Schultz getting 5th.
Really? Okay.
Because I have Schultz dropping another one once Kirk falls.
Everyone forgets about Gas Tank Gary.
I have Gary
in the finals.
I have Gary taking out Jordan Wood.
Gas Tank Gary in the finals
Gary
against
Charles?
Yeah. That's our boy. We
4-3.
love Gary Fromm.
All right, so I'm gonna run through what I have. I don't know how well this is gonna stand, but I have Gable 1, Cassiope 2,
Okay.
Kerfley at 3, Hendrickson 4, Schultz 5, Paris 6.
You have Paris 6, and he's not on Gable's side.
Yeah, I think Hendrickson and Paris are gonna meet to toss him into the third, fourth match, or Kerfley. Either way, I think both of them beat Paris. I don't know about Schultz is my biggest wild card because I think if Paris shoots under him, it's not one of those things where you can just build up from your shot. It's like you're getting stuffed your face on the mat. Like even if you are Gable in that match, it's like that man's hips are just on a new level.
I hope I see Cassiope and Schultz in the semi because I don't think I've ever seen them wrestle. No, Schultz is a beast.
It just happens to be that Cassiope was just a older, more developed version of him last year. That was all it was, and he just got ridden out. I think this year with Cassiope smaller, if Schultz can get to his control ties, it might go a different way.
I can't tell if Cassiope cutting all that weight and like getting in shape hurt him or improved his wrestling.
I mean, he beat Kerfley twice, which I didn't expect him to do. So I think Kerfley sold both times.
He beat Kirk last year.
Yeah, but Kerfley was like 20% wrestling. Right? Yeah, it was bad. He got majored by Paris too, which was like, I got so much shit for that because I picked Kirk. We both had Kerfley beating Paris, like putting it on him. And like this year when Kerfley beat Paris, I made sure to put no surprise in the caption just to piss people off.
And then I invited Mason Paris onto the podcast, and he replied with "LOL."
Okay. I kind of feel bad too. Like I have nothing against the dude. He just kind of every time he's
This is crazy, a crazy bracket. Like just put this into perspective of like all-time heavyweights. I'm like, yo, these guys are like all goats. Like
And what's his name? Trent Hilger from Wisconsin, 3-time All-Americans at 17 seed. I have him placed in 8th. I'm going to say that.
Who's he going up
against? I think he has Gable like first round.
Second round if he wins. I wouldn't be surprised if you see an 0-2 tournament from him if he loses first round to Elam, which was a 1-0 match in the blood round in 2019. And then I think he has Davison, most likely placed in 7th, or Wood, or Metz.
What about Gas Tank Gary?
I think
only refers to as Gas Tank Gary.
It's only Gas Tank Gary.
All right, you know what? After this,
all I care about is Gary Traub. I will think this wholeheartedly. I will say it publicly. Is 1,000 times better than Tate Orndorff, an Ohio State coach. You're a clown. You are a clown. Gas Tank Gary is 10 times better than Tate Orndorff, and I would put that on everything I own.
Well, there go my chances with Sasso on the podcast.
It was a shame what they did to Gas Tank Gary.
Bro, that's not anybody's fault, dude. Orndorff was going there. You know, we didn't get to see the rematch at CKLV.
I know. All right. Well, your question took way longer than mine are gonna, which, you usually complain that my questions take forever.
Yeah, but yours isn't wrestling related, but go on.
I know. This is the fun part of the podcast where we we ask you a couple fun questions. So, you don't cut a lot of weight. You kind of walk around pretty close to what you weigh in at. So what's your go-to post weigh-in meal? What are you eating after you step on the scale?
Okay, so I cramp a lot. So I cramp a lot. So I gotta go immediately to PB&J with bananas on it. I like sliced bananas and I put it in between the peanut butter. And that hits. You gotta get that quick potassium. And then I'm eating that with a coconut water or a Pedialyte. But I cut my Pedialyte with water because it's too thick. But yeah.
Okay. Well,
that's my go-to
question. What's your favorite food? Texas has a lot of good food to offer from a bunch of different types of food. So what's your go-to food in Texas?
This is gonna be very ironic, but I really love pho. Like the Vietnamese soup. I can eat pho any day of the week. There's like a huge Vietnamese scene out here as well in Houston. So like I go to Pho Saigon, give me the number 11 large, which is like the beef pho. But sometimes you get the beef pho and swap it out with the chicken broth. Secret menu.
I should name that after you. They should name that on the menu after
All
you.
right, I gotta jump in right now. What's your opinion on hot pot and Korean barbecue?
Korean barbecue. So my best friend / roommate is Korean, so we always go to Korean barbecue. Smacks. 10 out of 10.
You ever have hot pot?
No.
I think they have a few of those by me. I went there once. It was like $80 though.
Damn.
Yeah, per person.
All right.
Per person.
Yeah,
And
it was rough.
the final question: if you could take 4 of your teammates to be with you in a zombie apocalypse, who would you take and why?
Oh, I got Scott for the communication. He's one of our 41s. Scott for the communication. He's very tactical, comes from a military family. So I just need him for strategy. I got our other 41, Jacob Grogan, because he's just like tough, just strong as hell. He ended up wrestling 9 matches in this tournament because he dropped in the round of 16 and ended up getting 4th. So he wrestled 9 matches. His face is all bruised up. And then I'm gonna need a big guy. So I'm gonna take our heavyweight, Clay. He's huge. Like he had to cut to heavyweight. Came in at like 305. He squats like 600, 6 something. I'll be in the gym and he'll be like, "Hey, can you just come spot me real quick?" And he'll be lifting like 325, and I'll be like, "I'm not gonna do much, but yeah." So I need some muscle. So I'm taking 241s and a heavyweight.
That
Solid.
you wouldn't take your 65-pounder pre the bus?
Nah, he a little slow. He a little slow. He a little slow. I can't.
And secretly, I know what you're planning. You got the 2 fast guys, that are important, and then yourself. Because if you guys get trapped somewhere, you're shooting the heavyweight in the knee and letting him get taken down. You're all out of there. He's in the back. It's a good situation. Well, Tyra, it was a pleasure. It was a pleasure talking to you. Finally, getting a full, nice, good interview. And final words here. Texas A&M, I hope you get this. I hope somebody clips this and sends this to you. Figure out what you're doing with wrestling because you got a lot of talent in the room, a lot of heart in the room, and you can't let that go to waste. And I think you need to, send some of that football money somewhere else.